Ring, ring, ring. Hello, pimps and vegans.
Are you ready, kids?
And, well,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Be respectful. And welcome back to Krown's Magical Dancing Game.
That was weak. Your voice cracking like myself when I was 15 fucking years old. Get out of my face with that damn little bee buzzer bell, whatever the hell that it is. And we got, we got plenty to talk about today, obviously, with Bitcoin coming off the lows, filling the good old CME gap right there. The big gap, the one gap to rule them all. No, there's actually several more, in fact. But for right now, we do have a nice little bounce going on. And I want to reference the title of this video right here. The Bitcoin, is this the bounce you're looking for? No, probably not. but if you're on the short-term time frames, probably yes, in fact. Anyways, I'm gonna finish some of this more coffee off. I can't even speak today because my sleep is all fucked up from all of the action that we've been having in the last week here, man. You know, these times are really where I actually do probably 90% of my trading for the actual year. It's like maybe, you know, in a number of actual days, there's like about 4 to 5 times a year where you see BBWP actually get to really, really extremes. That's where I do about 90% of my actual business. Other than that, it's mostly just waiting around. I see Nikki Page here, though. I see Nimbo and Rocky G. Good morning to you guys. I figure it's pretty damn early over there for you in Australia. And who else do we have? I see some Frig Diggler action. What's up, brother? Jack Frost, Chris Biolo. Good morning to everyone. Anyone finding the Jewel Light indicator helping them time trades better, says Frig Diggler. Well, hopefully that's the whole purpose of it, but it would be very wise to be watching the actual video video that accompanies it on the YouTube channel here, and I think we also have it on the application as well on how to actually fucking use it. I love that indicator, no doubt about that. But what scares me is the amount of people who will use something without actually referencing the material that supports how you're actually supposed to fucking use it. Anyways, what's up, Zen Bull Trader? I see you over there as well, brother. I see you over there, Jack Assman. Good morning to you. Bitcoin Fight Club, nice man indeed. Sean Waller, Crypto Med, Will, ER, Brian Price. I recognize a lot of these names. Asterisk, what's up, man? It's been a long time. Willist and Lux CC. Filtered 8. There we have an actual OG of OGs of OGs, man. Holy shit, it's coming up on year number 4 almost here too. I think in just about a couple months, a little bit less than 2 months now, actually. Yeah, less than 2 months, and it is year number 4 of the operations of this damn cave. What the fuck has this become? I don't know, but I like it, man. I like it. It's the highlight of my life right now. Techno and Hourglass, a couple more OGs right there as well. Tom Struck, I see you, brother. I see you indeed. But I am going to take some few more sippy sips of this, and then we'll get into the content of the day. And Crypto Chris, yes, he over there. Cheese and Crypto Yellovest, Mon Ami, there he is, the fucking man himself. Strange Dad Rackets, I recognize those names. Of course, Gabor as well. Big Boy George, love it, man, fucking love it. Weed Journals, what is this about? It's a little scary that the Fed and the United States has so much power over all of crypto. I mean, they have power over all of markets, actually. That's because that's where all the capital is, sir. To be able to crash it by any QE and raising rates, I mean, all markets are going to go down, essentially. The U.S. is, the reason why that works is because the U.S. obviously has the largest capital market. So, at some point that'll probably shift on over to maybe China or maybe probably not Europe, but maybe in like a different timeline in a parallel universe or some shit. And, of course, the Fed or the central bank for those entities will obviously have the control. But for right now, it's still the USA, the good old USA, or maybe not so good old USA, as I know some people not the biggest fan. But you know what? It's all good, man. It's all good. Dread Money, what's up, man? Bubble Power indeed. Good morning, border from Denmark. Hey, my man, how's it going over there? I'm actually curious to know. So I heard that Denmark actually dropped all of their restrictions, but what is the temperature like there right now? Because here it is just dead fucking cold and icy everywhere, man. I'm looking at vacations at anywhere that's just a little bit warmer where I don't have to watch my fucking step just because there's ice on the ground. Anyways, should probably actually drink this, huh? Chat is always popping since Canadian vape. Yeah, man, that's one of the things that I really pride myself, or I wouldn't say pride myself, but take pride in this community for, is that the chat is always like pretty fucking on it. It's pretty damn good. I feel like that's something that we've really accomplished over the years where, even with this place growing bigger and bigger and bigger, which is, which I was a little bit kind of, unsure about at the beginning. It seems like the chat has more or less, 90% of it has really stayed and remained very, very strong. Good-natured people who are actually, interested in having real conversations. That's fucking cool, man. Because sometimes I tune into other channels who are like, humongous, and just by the nature of them being humongous, you get people from all sorts of walks in life, and you look at the chat there, and it's like, oh man, we're in for a long one today. That'd be very, very trying and testing on the old psyche, dealing with that all the time. Yeah, no moon boys here. I mean, we certainly have our moon boys, but I feel like they get washed out rather rapidly, especially in a market like this. And there he is, Bear Nutrition. Morning to you as well, brother. Morning to you as well. Good friend, Chris Gacci, actually. Gucci. All right, let me finish a little bit more of this off, and then we'll get right into it. Apologies on the good old wait. Oh man, finally. All right, beautiful. Okay, all right, fogging up my glasses there too. My glasses all fucked up. Okay, cool. Let me just think about how I want to present this whole conversation here. I think I also have one of the wrong charts up as well. I think it's this one. No, is it this one? It is this one. I'm going to drag this to my other screen just in case if I actually need it for myself. And I want to bring up... actually, no. Actually, yes. You know what? I do want to bring up a little bit of this action as well. I do think that it'll be relevant to speak about just because it's something that I spoke about for so long. So it would be a wise idea to follow up on that. All right, let me make sure that I got my chats over here. Okay. Sorry for the discombobulated morning here, but I think we're good to go. Nimbo says, sir, I need 7 random numbers between 1 and 45. Okay, 9. What's this for, man? What do you got up your sleeve there, Nimbo? All right, cool. Let's get into it right now. As always, starting off with Bitcoin, and the topic of the day is of course, is this the bounce that you're looking for? So when we're talking about is this the bounce that you're looking for, of course, we're referencing the bounce that we got in the last 24 hours from about $33,000 low all the way back up to just over $37,000 high. And does that actually matter for overall price action? Has anything actually changed? And is this like the bottom? Is what I imagine a lot of people are kind of looking at right now. Well, there's a lot to say about this, of course, and I want to first dial in the situation that we're dealing with. So today is Tuesday, the 25th of January. Tomorrow it's Wednesday, the 26th. There's a big FOMC meeting, Jay Powell's going to be speaking, which is going to very likely be a big deal. As anytime that he does get on the on the microphone, markets move both to the upside and the downside. Typically to the upside, however, traditionally speaking. Although in the past month and a half now, been a lot more downside action after several years of just straight up whenever he gets on the good old horn. So what does that mean for price action right here, and how does that kind of fit into the overall narrative that we're looking at? Well, it would be essentially this. So we were looking at this range from yesterday, about 37,000 to the upside versus about I think it was 34,000 to the downside. We broke the downside of the range. That did initiate our test down to the gap from CME at about 32,500 to 33,000 bucks. We got that. We got the bounce there that we were looking for after the first move down that we were looking for as well. I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but so that you can kind of follow up on these things in the short-term time frames and see how they kind of work out in reality, I suppose, as this was a rather bang play right there. And now where are we? Well, we haven't really changed, actually. We haven't really seen anything different go on this from even a medium-term time frame perspective. And what would actually resolve that in a medium-term time frame perspective? Need to see a closure above about 37,000 bucks, technically a little bit above there, be about 37 and some odd change on preferably a 4-hour closure. As you can see, the 4 hours getting incredibly well right here. And the problem with this price action is for the short term, referencing the title of is this bounce that you're actually looking for, is this is already looking, a little bit on the weaker side. And here's the thing, I really wouldn't expect any resolution in this case to the upside before tomorrow's conference. Of course, I can be wrong about that. What would be the criteria to invalidate that and target back up towards, 39,000 to maybe even 40,000 bucks would be, of course, the same thing as yesterday. 4-hour closure above about 37,000 bucks. You can maybe even could even use a little bit lower than that, but ultimately 37,000 bucks going to be a nice way of kind of identifying that. Anyways, for the time being right now, we do have potential hidden bearish evidence building up on the 4-hour time frame right here between this point on this high that you saw coming in all the way back on over from about 39,000 bucks and the high that you would presumably be putting in right here as well. On top of that, we do see extremes have been hit on BBWP on the 4-hour. So, we're likely going to go into a more prolonged contraction phase, which likely aligns with a range being constructed between about 37 highs and about the lows of yesterday on a closing basis, which is about 33.5, somewhere around there. Anyways, on top of that, I do want to address this here as well. So on 4-hour stochastic momentum, we actually did see it break what would have been the trend line coming in and governing the last few highs coming in all the way back from January 12th, which is important, which is good. But overall, we do see that this is still heading up and still will very likely head up as long as we're closing above 34,000 bucks. By the way, I just put up the promo video for this indicator, that being the advanced stochastic. It is available in the Krown chain application. Should let you know that because I get a shit ton of questions about that and probably lessen up some of the emails that we get. So thank God for that. In this case right here, we're seeing this really travel up a far amount whilst price action has not actually broken above even the medium-term time frame, or in this, yes, this would be medium-term time frame high. I was about to say short-term time frame high as well. No, that's not necessarily true. Short-term time frames have actually been, discombobulated here quite a fair bit, but $37,000. So I would look for essentially over this next 24-hour period until we get that economic event with Jay Powell speaking for likely a range between these regions. And seeing as we just tested the range highs, probably going to come down and test around the range lows. I would not necessarily call full-on continuation in this case because, again, we have hit some pretty major and macro areas, actually, that one of them being, of course, the CME gap coming in from the bear trap that we saw way back on over here in July. You can see that has been an official wick to wick in this case, which is kind of the way, or not kind of the way, that is the way that I identify a gap fully filled. And we actually did see a nice closure on a hammer dildo right here on volume for CME. So traditionally speaking, at least least that's going to provide a bit of a range, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't come back down and test somewhere around the range lows. I don't really have a target for that, nor do I have, a number in mind for right now, but I would say that I wouldn't necessarily be looking for new lows until Bitcoin closes another hourly dildo, let's say below about 33,800, 33,700. If something like that happens, at very least, we're going to test yesterday's low officially, which is not too helpful because it's just $1,000 lower. But at that point, I probably would be looking for Bitcoin to play out the full measured move that we did see. I think it was from this chart over here. Yeah, from this chart over here, based off of the head and shoulders formation, which is pointed down towards about $30,000 or so, which I do think would be a natural and very, very big base for Bitcoin, which I'm not necessarily convinced that Bitcoin tests like from this exact moment right here. I do think, personally speaking, coming off of the back of tomorrow's event, we'll probably see something more or less representing a range today, something like this, maybe pops back up tomorrow's event, rallies up somewhere around 39 to 40,000 bucks. And then if you see another lower high right there, well, probably more of the same with at least another test back down somewhere around the top side of this blue box territory, which is of course the summer base and the January base as well from last year, actually a very, very big one with humongous volume on it as well. I'm sure that the volume profile is going to show some pretty intense activity within that region. Actually, in fact, the point of control is interestingly enough at around $47,000. That would actually imply that above $47,000 to $48,000 actually do start to get quite bullish on Bitcoin again. I would say that correction is over. It also would be, of course, your break above the major meltdown area that we did see about a month ago, almost a month ago now, actually. But for right now, this would be the next sort of area to be aware of. Anyways, let's go through lower term time frame momentum oscillators and just see if they're all kind of on the same side or suggesting the same picture as a 4 hours. I haven't really done that just yet. 3 hour right here is going to be doing what? Is going to be loading, actually, is what we're seeing. Yeah, 3 hour is already getting way up there. Will turn down below about 35,350. Again, this is starting to be a little bit more of a bearish reset for right now, in my opinion, at least for another short term try somewhere around the range lows. Buy hourly is showing what? Is showing down already below about 37,000 bucks. So that would be the range highs here. And hourly is going to be, I'm going to guess, down as well, as long as we're below about 36,750 or so. So let's start to match that up with the medium and higher term timeframes. 12 hour is obviously going to be popping up above 34,200 or so. So again, short term, on the medium term timeframes, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to have the momentum to actually break down and really shatter our current lows. At least just yet, if it's going to happen at all. 6 hour is also kind of traveling up above 33,600. I do want to reference that as that one's been pretty damn good recently. And daily is also going to be coming down here as long as we're below about 35,800. So this is still essentially winding up, at least in my opinion, for a greater bounce, probably in the next week to come, week to week and a half to come. But I don't think that we're there just yet. Again, if you're looking for a verifiable, an easier way of just doing this, I mean, it's basically the same thing as yesterday, right? 4 hour closure above 37,000 bucks. If you're using an hourly, I'd be using just a little bit above there, like 250 or so, would be good enough for me. And then yes, I would be looking for, let me just get rid of the volume profile right here, although it does actually have natural confluence with the $39,000 region that I'd be looking at. Where is it? There we go. I'd be looking, hey, damn, wrong chart right there. I'd be looking at this area right here. Keep in mind, however, there's still really no talks of any major macro reversal on Bitcoin anytime soon. That would be most easily had above about $47,500 to $48,000 as we referenced earlier. But even then, Bitcoin still has lower highs here as long as we're below about $44,000. So that is the next sort of major line in the sand. And for right now, you'll notice if I get rid of my damn LARP lines over here, apologies on that, we can actually reference that in a second, but it is not relevant to the current conversation. And let me just get rid of this as well so you can very easily see it. Oh, geez, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, man. They're fucking multiplying. But basically, the 382 is right around that $40,000 precipice. So that would be sort of the major area to be aware of on a daily time frame, that as long as we're below, there's no real talks about any major moves to the upside. Obviously, there's no talks about even a potential reversal here for the long term, as long as Bitcoin's below about 40,000 bucks. Personally speaking, I do think that the 618 is the most important region to be aware of for a long-term macro reversal, implying that Bitcoin above there on a daily closing basis, I am, going to switch up to be very likely full on bullish. Of course, there's going to be ebbs and flows, but I'd naturally be a little bit more in a bullish posturing. Why is that? Well, the reason why that is because this would be your proverbial bull trappy region on the next rally attempt, which this asset really hasn't had like a major rally attempt. When I say like a major rally attempt, I mean, this has just basically been straight down this whole fucking way here. We really haven't seen anything like more prolonged like this, right? Well, that would be my major area for a traditional bull trap between about 44,000 bucks and 0.5 right here, which is also that last last lower high, and then about the 618 right here, which is about 48,000, also in line with the volume profile point of control as well. Anywhere between that region would be your proverbial bull trappy region on a daily. Obviously on a weekly, that would just be your next lower high, and with your next lower high on a weekly, seeing as you already have a lower low right here, well, that would presumably be the nail in the coffin for a while on this asset for looking for much lower prices. I also want to reference traditional markets as well. Let's go over here to Nasdaq. I don't think that I went over this yesterday, or if I did, if I maybe I did, I forget. Anyways, Nasdaq right here, again, phenomenal bounce yesterday on volume as well. Same sort of thing right here on the short-term timeframes. A little bit on the weaker side, yes. So probably does maybe test around the lows, but I don't think that we're going to be going lower first before playing out a bit of a better bounce, probably coming out off of the back of Wednesday's event. So how is this going to work from an event perspective? Well, the expectation right now is that there's going to be about 4 rate hikes in the year of 2022, and the Fed's going to taper, ending, I think, at basically around the end of Q2, if memory serves me correctly. Either which way, if there's any sort of indication tomorrow, any sort of indication at all that the Fed is not going to raise rates at least 4 times, then the markets very likely will rally, and they'll very likely rally hard. I would imagine Bitcoin gets somewhere between about $39,000 to $40,000 rather easily, and Nasdaq probably, reclaims back around like somewhere around 50,000, or sorry, not 50, but 15-ish region overall. You can see on the weekly right here, it is starting to hang on, and if we do put on our actual major moving averages, that'd be the 55 as well, which is kind of a sticky area traditionally speaking, just by the nature of people typically, closing their shorts there, assuming that they were short into it, and for people, looking to buy BTFD, I suppose that would be a relevant region as well. Anyways, let me get into this over here and reference this data as it is still of the utmost importance, that being the global open interest, of course. I still want to be on the record as saying that I am generally going to be cautious as long as we do see this, basically not coming down to the same macro regions that we've seen before. It doesn't need to be exactly down to what we saw over the summer, of course. This is a slightly different market right here in terms of participants, as we do have but Bitcoin has a futures-based ETF. So naturally speaking, we should expect the open interest to have a higher base over time. But I do think that it could come down somewhere between about your September lows right here at about 8.5 billion, and these lows over here at about 5.25 billion. The lower, the better, essentially. And by the way, I should let you know on the Krown trading application, you can actually set an alert for this, which I'll do right now, and I can show you exactly how it goes. So here we go. Where is my damn open interest? There we go. I want to see when it's under, and I want to see when it's under first 8 point. I'm gonna do it a little bit higher than what I actually do want to see, maybe 8.6 billion. So I'm gonna save that. I'm going to get rid of this as it's triggered. It's been triggered. And then I also want to know when it gets below about 6.5 billion as well. These are going to start to be major regions. And yeah, you can do this all for free on the Krown trading application, which is amazing because I massively appreciate using this. So fair enough. Anyways, there we go. All right, sweet. So let's see, what else did I want to reference over here? Yeah, let's go down to the hourly data for this feed. You can see that it's come down, a little bit below 10 billion or so, but still, we saw a slight uptick yesterday actually on the bounce. So again, people are using leverage to buy the bounce, it does look like. And when we go over here to the leverage ratio, it's still incredibly high. Now, again, we do expect this to be higher. Professionals, which have been, entering more and more at in size into this market, are going to be using futures contracts or derivative contracts to essentially cover their positions, which is not real risk. But I would still be looking for the open interest to come down in order to denote a major and potentially macro low, because that's going to represent the uncovering of those positions. And when they uncover those positions, it does mean that they're going to have some upside exposure yet again. So until that, no matter which way I cut it, as when I think about it more deeply, it still does matter actually, because I was having a good conversation with one of my good friends, Mr. Coop, the other day. And he was kind of providing some a little bit of pushback on what I've been saying in this regard. And it's like, yes, that does make sense, but at the same time, it would have the same actual result. In fact, as we'd expect open interest to come down alongside a letting go of those downside covers, assuming that that is a big portion of the open interest to begin with. I imagine that most retailers are already absolutely fucking crushed out of this market, to be fair. Fear and greed index is also at a 13 right now, which is Jesus Christ, man, quite nasty. USD indeed. I just want to make sure that I'm getting everything else over here. So let's go back. Oh yeah, let's go check out Dixie. I have not checked out this one today, but yeah, okay, okay, so we came into this week, right? We came into this week looking at this region at $95.50 as the hopium region, essentially, presenting something like this, that's saying, hey, if you want a little bit of hopium, this is what you're looking for to open up into Monday. We got the exact opposite of that, and it's going to fall into the general narrative of this in the sense that, yeah, this is a continuation play right here. Very likely still looking for continuation all the way up to 98-ish, maybe even all the way up to 100 in the next half year to a year or so. Of course, this is not a direct relationship to Bitcoin. This is the dollar's value relative to a basket of fiat currencies, but on the macro scale, when you are looking at general direction here, has been good enough in getting the macro direction opposite of Bitcoin and most assets as well, to be fair. So I still remain bullish on this one, and I do expect that it does have higher to go over the next half year to a year or so, and then we'll come back to it after that. Anyways, okay, so we got that. Let me just reference this over here as well. I also want to bring up this data as well here. So again, we did hit a pretty big area yesterday, that being the CME gap, also just low $30,000 territory, which was a humongous base for pretty much the all of 2021. And then also we do see the 20 simple on the monthly coming in here as well as I believe actually we're on the quarterly 9, which should probably naturally line up with this. I just want to double check on this just to verify for myself. Yeah, we hit exactly to the 9 exponential on the quarterly right here, and also the backfill on the last quarterly open. So all of these things, are going to be aligning for a bounce, as we did say, coming into, I think it was the end of last week. But when we're talking about these major macro areas, you don't expect the resolution of those, like the result of the bounce immediately. When you're talking about a monthly or quarterly, especially, you're probably talking about like a week or two of price action to look at that response. So I want to follow up on that now, because you've seen that in real time, or well, presumably real time, as much as you can right here. And yeah, it takes a bit of patience. So, blindly buying that first move down, usually not going to be the best idea from a opportunity cost perspective, unless you're more of like a short-term scalper, of which that's kind of my game right now. And that can be massively profitable, also massively well, I won't finish that sentence. Anyways, I want to get into this as well right here, right? Okay, so I reference this as kind of like a worst case scenario right now. I do think it's relevant to talk about nowadays, just because, well, it's relevant. I mean, we're close to the resolution of it, although I'm not necessarily convinced that it does happen, although we do have, a good amount of history here where it does happen, to be fair. Anyways, we do see that the monthly MACD is going to be crossing down, assuming that Bitcoin does close the month below 54,100. Not only will monthly MACD be crossing to the downside, but we will also see monthly stochastic momentum cross to the downside as well, below 53,500 essentially, and we'll be kicked out of the bullish control zone for the first time since like April 2018. In fact, which is not great history. On top of that, we do see that the monthly PMAR is also losing the moving average on it, which has happened once and twice before in the history of Bitcoin, and those were correlated with those MACD cross downs. One of them being right here in May 2018. The next one being right here. Actually, I don't even have it written out, but it would be right here. In fact, it would be right there. Anyways, that would be this one right here, right before the good old, or maybe not the good old, but the old flu dump, of course, about a month before actually. And then we're getting the same thing over here as well. And while we don't have the PMAR cross going in back from the August 2014 bull trap, we do have a monthly MACD cross. So it does have a pretty good history of that. And technically speaking, anytime that we have actually seen that over the next year or so, price action has moved down to the green 55 on the monthly, that is. So naturally, this will be rising up and over time, but that is currently at about 22,000, just above 22,000 bucks. So I do think that max downside for Bitcoin in like the worst case scenario or so, probably gonna be somewhere around $23,000 to $25,000 if I had to guess. That is worst case scenario, at least in my opinion, for right now. And that will only be initiated if Bitcoin does close below our current lows of the summer range, which is, I think on a wick basis, was what? 36, sorry, no, that's not correct. Hold on. It is about 29,641. Until then, Until then, it's just not relevant for me. We do have this measure move down here, which we're very, very close to. So maybe one more washout on a fuck you move, and then the big bounce that I think a lot of people are waiting for. But I do still think that this is going to take a little bit of patience right here, to be quite honest with you. So hopefully that was helpful in this analysis. I'll be shutting that one off for right now. Oh, before I shut it off, I should let you know, as always, there's a bunch of scammers on Instagram. I am not that person who is messaging you in the DMs. I do not have secret funds that I'm looking to trade for people. Sorry, I'm not doing that. So please understand that if it's not coming from the account that is linked in the description below, it is certainly not me. It's probably a scammer, and the reason why I tell you that is because it's probably going to just take your money and run. It's probably what's going to happen. I haven't tried it myself, so I can't verify. I can't validate that statement, but I'm gonna guess. Here. And then also, what else? We got the Jewel Light still free until about February. You can try it out in the link description below. Got my old Bybit show. I haven't done that in a while. There you go. Go get wrecked on Bybit. It's fucking great. Just lose all your money right there. It's the perfect market to do it. No, as always, man. Look, they are offering up a $3,000 deposit bonus, but please understand that, look, the reason why they're doing that is because they know that they're probably going to make more money off of you than you are going to make off of them, which actually shouldn't be a predatory relationship, because the way that they make money is from people putting in market orders, which, you can put in a market order and still, make a good trade, right? But most people are probably not going to be profitable leverage trading, not because they're not capable of it, but because they probably haven't put in the time and effort to be capable of it, which, is going to require, well, a lot of time. I mean, for myself, it's like a year and a half, 2 years. It's a long time, man. And I was quite lucky in my disposition, having some tutelage from some of the best traders, at least in my opinion, in the world. And even then it took me a long time, but I'm also a slow learner. For the people out there who are, of course, already a validated trader, someone who consistently makes money, yeah, might as well take advantage of a deposit bonus, I suppose. I mean, it is free money in your case, but for the people who are not, it's just really not wise, man. Look, it's unless you've really put in the effort, or unless if you actually backtest whatever strategy that you're working on, and you have the statistics to validate that it's actually going to work, then it's probably not a good idea. I'm not trying to be your dad. I know that a statement like that can have the opposite effect because people want to go against it, but it's really, 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 really unwise. And I can tell you from experience, going broke is not there. There's really nothing pleasurable about it, to be honest with you. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. There you go for Bitcoin. All right, shut it off the video right there. Let me get into the comments over here. I'm going to turn on the alerts as well. I'm going to take the last sippy sip of this coffee. This chat is hilarious, like crypto porn, says Crispiolo. What's going on over here, man? Oh man, I see that everyone's become an expert in international relationships. This is good. Oh, flashlights. Okay. Flashlights are good, actually. I had one. Oh my God, man. Okay, so I had one when I lived in Chicago, and it was actually quite nice, okay? But here's the thing. When I left my apartment in Chicago to come here to Finland, I handed off my apartment because I couldn't just leave. So I handed off my apartment to this cute young couple who were going to DePaul University, very proper. They came in to interview for taking over my lease, and they had suits on, and they were very excited. They're very young, and you know what? I left them a nice present. It was my crusty old fleshlight, and and I'm happy for them because, well, you know what? It's the number one sex toy for men. Anyways, well, yeah, my mom's not there to clean it, so who the fuck's gonna clean it? Anyways, let's see. Where do I need to start today? I think it's crazy fish. Crazy fish. All right, sweet. Oh, it's actually. Wait, what? It's 10 degrees Celsius in Denmark? That's insane. It's not sunny California, but not Finland. Yeah, fair enough, man. Okay, so I guess you guys are a little bit further south than us, I suppose. I don't really know my geography. Still cold as Elsa. Anyways, Crazy Fish says, can we check out Thor? Oh my God. What the fuck is this thing gonna be? Maybe I shouldn't judge it before I look at it, but just judging by the name. Am I looking for continuation on this? No. I'm looking for this one to pull back here very, 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 very likely. But there's not really much history here for me to go off of, and it's actually not that bad. I mean, obviously it's not that bad when it's been rallying while most things are not. Here's the thing though, this is not versus the US dollar, which is stable. This is versus AVAX, which has been going down. So this one's just not going down as much as AVAX, or maybe holding stable, or maybe it is actually going up a little bit versus the US dollar. And either which way that I do cut it though, I would be looking for pullbacks from here. The reason why I say that is because you're back around your last major breakdown regions right around here. I'd still be waiting for like, a higher term time frame closure above whatever basically like 3.25, it looks like, before I call any sort of continuation. Until then, I'm probably looking for this one to play out some of the multiple drives of bearish divergence that's been constructing over here, with very likely a move down to about 235 to 240-ish region over the next, I don't know, maybe week or so, maybe even next few days or such. We see 4-hour jewel starting to turn down right there, although you do not see a break of range just yet, so that is not a signal. But with a low volatility right here, while it's kind of struggling around the highs, I wouldn't say it's struggling, but it's just very likely to pull back after a move like that. Daily, not getting anything from that, way too new. Hourly, same thing, probably gives a few more spikes into this region, but ultimately I do think this one plays at a pullback first, and then it very likely gives another try towards the upside, and that's probably the try that you might be looking for. On a break of that high, I'm looking at minimum for another retest of your all-time highs, which is almost six AVAXs, and then perhaps more after that. But I'm always a little bit skeptical when I see altcoins like this, simply because this thing doesn't really trade, man. It's got let's go to a daily right here and just see how much. Yeah, yesterday, which was a very big day in just general markets, 71,000 volume, which is absolutely nothing. So yeah, let me just swap out my coffee for water. That would be a good idea. All right, get this going over here. Oh, lovely. Okay, I think we have Icebox next. He says, "Hey, Krown, hope you're all good." I think so. I hope so. I've been trying to create a strategy for the hourly time frame, but I'd find I don't have the same hit rate as my daily strategy. Any advice, since you mainly trade the hourly? Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, man. Now, I don't know your statistics, your specific statistics accompanying this idea, but your hourly hit rate for a strategy should naturally be less than a daily. The sort of like give and take, or the pros and cons, or the advantages and disadvantages of using a higher term time frame versus a lower term time frame is that typically your signals will have a higher hit rate of playing out at the expense of not getting as much signals. So that is actually expected. Now, I don't know if this is a humongous differential. If it is, then probably something needs to change with your strategy. But seeing as I don't really know what your strategy is, I can't really comment on that. But I would say, that would actually be very logical. So again, I don't know, unless you provide a little bit more color on that, I can't really comment anything more, but it might just be completely fine and reasonable. Remember, in every daily for your strategy, there's 24 hourly dildos that get printed there for every one day. So, you're going to get a lot more signals. The efficacy of those signals will be diminished, but you get more signals. So, theoretically, your hit rate your average P&L over time should actually be somewhat similar anyways. It's just kind of preference. And then, it also kind of falls to say that, hey, if you are not happy with your hourly hit rate, you can always just, go back to the drawing board, try a few more slight different things. In fact, that is almost always warranted in my experience. Just very, very slight, minute changes can make a wealth of difference. And then in the meantime, you don't need to trade the hourly. You can just continue trading the daily, which sounds like it's been working for you, which is great. Anyways, let's see. Okay. NWB says Ethereum 4-hour and daily. Yeah, we didn't do this one yesterday. We didn't even check it. Or did we check it out? I don't know. Either which way, it'd probably be wise to do right here. And hey, look, it's almost at my blue box. Let's see. Let's just, whoa! Ha ha ha. Got some of that gas station coffee right there. Apologies on that. Highly unprofessional yet again, but you don't come here for professionalism. You come here for a silly goose time. Look, there's no such thing as a fucking professional crypto trader or investor. You know why? Because there's no governing authority that does validate traders in that way. When I was a trader on Nike Arca, you actually had to, take a test. For me, it was a Series 56, and then you get, essentially the moniker of professional trader, but in this case, there's no such thing. It's just funny because I see all the time on like Twitter, people will say like professional trader in their bio, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean? I understand what they mean though. It's like, you know, you make most of your money from trading. Hey, fair enough. That's about as professional as you can get, to be fair. All right, cool. I'm just talking shit right now. Let's talk about Ethereum. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. Very similar to Bitcoin in this case, in the sense that you've seen the big bad move to the downside, getting our first little bouncy bounces right there. But is this the bounce that you're looking for on even a medium-term time frame? I would argue no. This is still actually putting in lower highs right here. So relatively weaker in comparison to Bitcoin. We do see another drive of hidden bearish evidence formulating right here, and we do see volatility coming off of the highs as well. So I would be looking for this one to once again sweep around the lows, whether that be about 2250 to 2275. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. I would really, and if this one does put in a lower low, I really wouldn't be looking too much lower. I'd just be looking at the same blue box that we've had here for a while now, I guess, which is between about 1850 all the way up to about 2100 or so. So basically this is a long way of saying, you know, if you do play another move to the downside, I don't think it has too much further down to go before you do get that big bounce. I imagine the bounce that you might be looking for is probably going to be born upon tomorrow's event when Jay Powell speaks. Until then, you know, this one, as far as a short-term time frame range goes, is actually quite simplistic here. So let me get rid of this. It's not relevant for the 4-hour. Apologies. Whoops, wrong button. And let's just do this right here. And we could even do this like this, in fact. You know, I would call an upside range resolution on the short and medium term time frames with any sort of a closure above 2550. Hourly is okay. 4 hours always going to have a higher hit rate on that. And at that point, I would be looking for a short term move somewhere back around this region right here at about 28 to 2900 or so. Very much in line with a Bitcoin move somewhere back around about 39, maybe even 40,000 bucks. But that doesn't really change anything, of course, for the daily, as the daily is still working on lower highs as long as you're below about 3400. So personally speaking, depending upon what happens today, which again, I do think that this one is going to dig in and at least try another move around its lows from yesterday, maybe even make a slightly new low somewhere around, 2000 to 1900 or so. Let's just say that death move happens and then it pops back up and then it takes out this region right here. Just be looking for a move somewhere right around here. And at that point, well, you can imagine that would be presumably probably where your next lower high comes in if it is going to continue on with the long-term downtrend. We are starting to hit extremes here on daily BBWP, but again, when we're at a really, really monumental move like this, this is already at 96th percentile. So it would be reasonable to say that we've seen certainly, I wouldn't say certainly, but because that's a really terrible word to use in trading and technical analysis, but we've very, 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 very likely seen the strong majority of this move. If it gets to 100th percentile, great. That'd be a little bit more confidence inducing, but this is, these are extremes right here by definition, alongside daily RSI being, lower than it's been since December 2019, actually. Even in March 2020 didn't get down this low, which is rather interesting. But it has seen lower in the past. I mean, just because it's this low doesn't mean that it can't go lower, of course. But it does provide a little bit of insight that we're probably not going to see Ethereum much lower than maybe 1900 before playing out a bigger bounce. Now let's see where the major retracements on a bearish fib would be showing right here, assuming that it does kind of reach for that next low. And what do you know? The 382 is coming in right here, which is where you do expect your lower highs to come in on a trending move. So that would imply that Ethereum back above this region at about 2,900 on a daily closure, very likely do see a big rally up somewhere between about 3,150 to 3,500. And that would be the next sort of point of interest for potentially a bull trap. Above about 3,500, all good in the hood. We can start to talk about moon boy targets yet again, and great. But here's the problem. Here's the deal, is the monthly right here. You're in a bouncy region. Again, more likely to bounce short term than not, maybe after one more swipe of the downside. But oh God. Yeah. I mean, this doesn't even look too strong right here. So kind of wrapping up my thoughts on Ethereum. Probably at least one more swipe of the downside, maybe even a little bit lower. We'll actually see even 4-hour stochastic momentum turn down again below 2200. Buy hourly, I'm sure, is already down. Yeah, or sorry, no, it's not down just yet, but 2380 is the magical number, currently trading about $6 below. Hourly is down below 2432, and all of these are closing in about 8 minutes and 54 seconds. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say at least another move down somewhere around your lows from yesterday. If you get a continuation drive, at that point, I am looking just not too much more lower, somewhere around 1900 to 2000 or so. At that point, you're going to start to really create a lot of drives of bullish divergence coming off your 4-hour RSIs, maybe even into the medium-term time frames as well. Yeah, you will actually have it on 12-hour here too, but it's well. Fair enough. We'll come back to that one later. Hopefully that was helpful for Ethereum. And there you go, sirs and sirs. Lovely, or maybe not so lovely, but fair enough. Stefan Milicevic says, "Hey, Krown, what's up, man? Hope you're having a great morning." Thanks, man. Thanks for that nice positive message. Hope you're having a great morning as well. We went on a nice morning walk this morning. We didn't see any horses though, but I did get some good coffee. Anyways, can you do Sol daily and weekly? Also, any support targets for Sol? If
Whoa, did you do Crescent?
yes, I just did that. Blah, blah, blah. But basically your question is, if Bitcoin were to come down to the $32,000 area, where would you be looking for on Solana's? Let's see. Oh man, there was such a brutal tweet by Sam SBF yesterday, or I think it was yesterday or this morning, whatever it was. I saw it this morning. There's such a brutal tweet by him about Solana. It was a tweet thread, and for the first like 5 tweets or so, he's singing the praises of Solana. He's like, yeah, look, we're doing well. It's still building. These are expected sort of things, and the future, is basically bright. And then it ends with, I still have my bids at $3. Oh man. No, Sam, say it ain't so, man. Say it ain't so. All right, should we record this one as well? Maybe yes. We got a Sims episode coming in later today as well. Actually, we should record this one. All right, here we have Solana symbol SOL versus the Derper, and let's go down to first the 4-hour time frame. I imagine it's probably similar to Ethereum in the sense that yes, you have 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bearish divergence formulated right here. You've seen extremes on 4-hour BBWP, so I am looking for this one to probably give one more try somewhere down around yesterday's low, whether that be $83.50, maybe even slightly lower than this one. Or sorry, slightly lower than yesterday's low, perhaps somewhere right around, I suppose, about 75. Well, I guess that's not super slightly lower. But here's the thing. The question that this is being born upon is, where would you be looking for on Solana if Bitcoin came down to 32,000? So yesterday, Bitcoin actually just dripped ever so slightly below 33,000 into the shallow $32,000 region just for a second. But if Bitcoin were to come down another $1,000 or so, I'd be looking for Solana somewhere around your August lows, which would be like mid to low $70 region. Again, similar to Bitcoin, similar to Ethereum, similar to a lot of the other things that we've looked at today. I don't think that this one has too much further down to go before a pretty nice bounce. We are starting to get way up there on daily BBWP, 89.5 percentile or so. Yes, if it was a little bit higher, it'd be a lot more confidence inducing. So that does make me consider that you probably see one more swipe either at the lows or ever so slightly below the lows. We're getting very, very close there. I don't think that this downside move has too much more to go before a major bounce alongside it, and probably led by Bitcoin. Daily RSI, you're going to have a very slight drive of bullish divergence coming off the lows, assuming that you don't completely shit the bed today, but that is a bit of a stretch there perhaps, but overall, let's see, where would the next major long-term levels be? Weekly, monthly? Yeah, monthly would be 60-ish. Sorry, did I say 60? That seems rather aggressive. Maybe I am being a little bit too bullish on this thing. I would still be looking in the mid, in the mid, let's say 65 to 75 or so. Who knows where Stray Wick lands on a pretty nasty move, but in this case, it does look like it has maybe one more swipe. I do want to check it out from my stochastic perspective as well, just to see. And I imagine short-term timeframes are maybe still hidden up here. As long as this one's closing above 82.25, okay, that would be generally good, I suppose. 12-hour is going to turn down below 89, but very, 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 very aggressive right here. Really wouldn't take too much for this one to get a nice bounce. I just suspect that it probably comes tomorrow into that event. If it comes before the event tomorrow, I actually look at that as probably a bad sign overall, even though it would be good short term. Daily is going to turn down below about 88.8, or sorry, continue down below 88.8. Weekly, where we at right here, still nosediving below 175, and 5 days nosediving below 125. So again, it really wouldn't take too much to get this one on a pretty big rally, but I do suspect that it has one more drive to the downside. Where would I call this one on, or sorry, where would I essentially say that the short-term timeframes are resolved to the upside with, probably targets back up to the triple digits at minimum? Well, I guess this is actually, sorry, I have to take that statement back, because the resolution for that would be above about $1.05. At that point, I would be looking for this one to rally back up somewhere around your 382 retracement here from the low of this move, which we don't know if we've seen the low of this move just yet. So that kind of makes this difficult. But basically, let me get rid of this one. It's not relevant towards this. That'd be about $1.25 to $1.30 target if that were to happen. Also, your last major breakdown regions from middle of January. So hopefully that was helpful on Solana. And there you go, sir. Nice, man. Let's see. I think we have Crispy Olo next. He says, Krown, interested on your thoughts of worst case scenario price action for Bitcoin if full on recession like 2000, 2007, and SPX as gauge takes a 55% correction. Okay, so we're getting like deep into bear porn right now, but let's first address the basically SPY right here. So you're basically postulating that we might see a 50% correction or crash. That's what that means. I'm guessing that would be down to like the 55. Let's just see. That would be even further down than the 55. I do think worst case scenario for SPY is down to like 3,500 or so. Yeah, to be honest with you, that's a hell of a move right there. And also understand that in traditional markets, more than a 20% correction, more than a 20% move is like a full-on recession bear market. So 55% correction is like that's like crypto speak, basically, not traditional land speak. Again, this is a pretty ridiculous chart, no doubt about that. But and this is the real chart right here too. So wouldn't be too far-fetched. But again, even if like a 30% correction from where we're at right now, with it already playing out, I think about a 10% move to the downside, a little bit more than that perhaps, would still only be about a 30-40% correction, which is humongous in traditional land, but not much for crypto land. Anyways, if SPY was to find its way down here, as of right now, these markets are very much correlated. More so with Nasdaq than SPY, just because it represents the tech sector, which Bitcoin seems to trade with. So if you are going to be running off that correlation, then probably going to be looking, somewhere down around $20,000, maybe a little bit lower. Yeah, that would be relevant. So I don't really have anything to add on to it other than that. To be fair, historically speaking, we've never really seen Bitcoin actually close or open and close weekly dildos below the 200 simple, which is the white moving average right here. The monthly 55, also a long-term good base as well. So I'd really want to see the response from those regions, assuming that we even get there to begin with, which I do think it's way too aggressive to even be considering right now, simply because $30,000 at minimum should be a humongous monthly bounce, and at maximum could be a reversal. I guess there's a little bit of hopium for that right now, but I think I've addressed what you've said. I really don't want to go like full on into bear point. I know that some people are calling for like 15,000, 10,000. I've even seen like 6,000 or 7,000. It's just not, look, I could make some like very scary YouTube titles with that sort of shit. It's just not relevant for right now. And I think that people who think in that sort of vein, it's just bullshit is what it is, to be honest with you. You can't trade like that in a market like this. I mean, and a move like that's probably going to take months, if not maybe like a year for it to happen anyways. And there's going to be a lot of verifiable and in major areas to be speaking about before that would even make it like relevant, at least in the way they look at things. So, again, I really want to step away from that. I really dislike both Moon Boys and Doom Boys, because more often than not, man, things are fucking ranging is the nature of the game. And, it's only when Bitcoin's doing a move like this where people start to really consider like significantly Doom Boy targets. And to be fair, man, like, here's the thing. Here's like something that I think is so fucking interesting to me, in the sense that Bitcoin doesn't even have a weekly downtrend just yet, and people are going fucking crazy calling this a bear market. I mean, it is a bear market. Like anytime you go 50% down, like I don't care what you call it, but technically speaking, you don't even have a weekly downtrend just yet. So have to put things into perspective here first, and then go from there. Anyway, let's see what Bitcoin's doing on the short-term timeframes here. You're gonna hold it up, Mr. Bitcoin. Anyways, let's let's talk about this one next. I think we have Tom Struct. Not many comments today. This is actually quite nice. Anyways, Tom Struck says, best wishes, sirs. Adam, 4-hour and daily, please. If you've already done, then gold. Actually, gold would be super interesting. I'm actually quite bullish on gold, but we'll look at Adam because no one has asked about it just yet. Adam right here on Binance, and you are looking at a 4 and daily. Adam holding up really, really well here. Really, really well, actually. Wow. Really powerful. 4-hour, are we putting in a bit of a local high here? Yes, I do think so. You will have, or no, you will not have hidden bearish divergence between the last high and this one, maybe on this chart. No, actually, not bad. Yeah, really, really good, actually. I do think that this one might have another move somewhere down around about 33.5 to 33.80 or so. That's fine. I would call an upside resolution, and this one's like back in the clear, actually. Jesus Christ, too many damn lines here. Back in the clear, actually, back above about 37.85 in this case. Back above there, I do look for this one to make another run basically around its prior highs. Personally speaking, though, I do think that you're going to pull back from here, at least short term. If you do start to close dailies below about 33.5, I would actually be looking for one more run just below $28, somewhere around about 27.5 to 28 is where I'd be looking for. But ultimately, one of the better charts, obviously. The question is, you know, if Bitcoin comes back down again, obviously I'm going to expect this one to correct, you know, more heavily, perhaps even all the way down to like 25 if things get really, really nasty. If Bitcoin puts in a further bounce from here, you know, without retesting the lows first, which I do think this one is more likely to come down here in the short term, to be honest with you, then I'd probably be expecting this one to actually take out that critical level to the upside, being 37.85 in this case, with targets back up towards the prior highs at about 40 to 45 or so. Again, I do like this one from a long-term perspective, but if I'm just giving my general opinion on this, I do think that it will come back down, and I do think that it will put in your next major, probably macro low somewhere in the mid to upper 20s. Over a long period of time, but you know that might not be relevant towards you because you're focusing on as high of a daily, not necessarily a weekly, and maybe that's not as relevant here. All right, cool. Sean Waller says, hey man, what's up, brother? Another noob cat question. All good. Would the max pain for options on Bitcoin move the price close to it? Apparently it's been 85% accurate. Max pain on options is a, let me bring up what you're talking about first. I want to see what it actually is. It can make sense when like it's a very heavily traded strike. So I'm going to bring it up over here. We're actually going to be able to offer up this stuff on the app as well. But on a, you know, this is just representing today's daily. I think, yeah, it's the 25th of, 25th. Yeah. So this is today's daily. I mean, 35,000 doesn't really mean much. I mean, that's where Bitcoin is already, but let's go to like the weekly or the monthly here, which would, I'm guessing, going to be 28th of Jan. Let me just see. Yeah, 28th. So this one should theoretically have the most volume on it. Let's just double check. Yes, it certainly does. Okay, you can see a shit ton of call open interest right there, and the max paying price is $42,000. Interesting. You know, so does price action get pulled above there? I think there's actually a good chance that you might see to above 40,000 in this case. That's actually the highest traded strike. Obviously, these calls are going to all be worthless, so you know that's not going to really matter. But typically speaking, the majority of puts or the majority of options in general are going to expire worthless. So when I'm looking at this right here, you can kind of shave all of these call options off the board. They're already all wrecked, or they're already worthless. In this case, your $40,000 put strike. Does that one get expired worthless as well? Maybe yes. Again, based off of tomorrow's result, we might see something like that. So I think that would be a bit of a catalyst for that. But has it been 85% accurate? I've not backtested that myself, but I would generally be a bit skeptical of that because I have not seen that just you know based off of when I've referenced this data. You know, the problem with thinking about max pain is that you don't know that person's other positions, because options from a professional standpoint are usually going to be used in conjunction with either other options or like a spot or futures leg. So they're not just like, you know, blind and naked positions. So I was a little bit skeptical of data like that, but at the end of the day, man, price action is just gonna be a lot more of a clean and clear way to kind of analyze these things. That's basically what it comes down to for me. Anyways, let's see. I see Mr. Hawks. You called him Hawks. Love you as well, sir. FTM. Okay. FTM 4-round daily. Gotcha. Okay, all right. Yeah, another one. Again, short-term time frame, range high. Still, I haven't changed this chart in a long time. This one's just nice. I guess I already made this one for a 4-hour, but you know, I am looking at this as a bit of a rejection right here, as long as you're below about 230. Now, if you do start to close 4-hour dildos back above 230, I would be looking for a nice rally somewhere back around about 250 to 255 region. Until then, I do look at this as very likely hidden bearish evidence for me right here, and I would be looking for this one alongside most things in this market to test around yesterday's, you know, lows, whether that be like $2, maybe a little bit below $2. That's fine. You know, if Bitcoin goes for a continuation move down to, let's say, $30,000 base or so, I'd be looking for this one at about 160. And honestly, I do think that that's probably what's happening over here. But here's the thing, man. Long term, this is still, again, among some of the better charts, similar to Atom. This is why I think long term, a lot of these charts, they're actually going to be coming down. But those, you know, those next moves downs are probably just going to be higher lows in this case. Let me just double check that I have things over and well over here. Let me just, okay, 450. I want to hold on. I want to make sure that I actually get this trade right, because I've been waiting for this one for a long time, and fair enough. Anyways, well, a long time being like 2 hours. Yeah, you know, again, as you know, as long as you're below about 230, the path of least resistance is actually still down around yesterday's lows, and you know, on a continuation move, if Bitcoin does get something like that as well, I'm looking somewhere around about 160 to 165 region. That's where I'd be expecting a more strong low long term. You'd also look at that as a higher low on your higher term timeframes, obviously, as well, and you know, this would still be morphing itself into some sort of long-term accumulation formation, just, you know, long-term, obviously. So again, where does that get invalidated, and where do I start to look higher first before lower? That would be, again, 230, 4-hour closure, nothing less in this case. Yeah, daily, that's not a strong response right there. 12-hour actually looks a little better to me, especially coming off extremes right there, but could very easily see one more move down around there. Again, it's going to depend on whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin breaks its current lows, that's where I look at that as actionable, but still among some of the better long-term charts, actually. Okay, cool. It's Shane. You mean Shane? Hi, hi the like guys. Hi the like as well, sir. We got 2,000 people watching right now, 774 likes on the video. I think that's good, man. That's pretty damn good. Elsa says no. Oh, it's lazy. Fair enough. Krown, can you check URA ETF? I'm guessing this is uranium. Yeah, it is uranium ETF. I guess I've charted this one before. I was using these massive white horizontal bars before, so this must have been like a year or so ago. Well, those ranges still played out pretty fucking well, huh? Okay, so you hit down to the 55. I'm actually gonna get rid of this. Just not very pretty to look at. I don't like this chart. Oh, that was a bi-weekly, actually. Probably looking for this one to try for another bounce. You know, maybe back up to 22 and a quarter. So you're looking at, you are looking at a weekly. Okay. Here's what I'd be looking at on a weekly. I actually do think that this one does carry on with a bounce, maybe into next week, actually. I'm not necessarily convinced that this one's going to do it this week. I'm guessing this one probably trades like a commodity as well, which most commodities are doing like okay right now, last I checked. I only really look at this one as like bad and with big continuation of the downside, somewhere down around about 16.5 to 16 3/4 if you do close below about 18.5 on a daily. Until then, I think that you're probably looking at some a little more sideways, and probably next week or the week after that, you do see a rally back up somewhere into the 23-ish region or so. See what a monthly looks like here. I'm very split on a monthly though. I would not blindly say that I'm long-term bullish, just short-term looking for a continuation of that bounce into like the next 2 weeks or so. And I only invalidate that with a closure below basically yesterday's low, which is like more like 1880. And at that point, I'll be looking for moves down to about 16.5. Let's say. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let me. Krown, how close does a fleshlight feel to the real thing? It's actually amazing, man. It's actually really amazing. It's better. It's certainly better than your fucking crusty and calloused hands. I'll tell you that. Anyways, let's see. Okay, got that one. Lux CC has no message, but thank you for that, sir. You're banned. MM, there he is. MM, what's up, man? Adam 1 and 4. I think we just got that one, so all good. I think I might have recorded that one here too. Nehemiah says, hope you are both well. Hope you're well as well, man. Would like to visit Finland someday? You sure about that? It's funny though. I actually love Finland. I absolutely love living here, but the people who live here, who are like born here, they seem to really like not appreciate it. Anyways, you're looking at Metis versus Ethereum. Gotcha. Yeah, I absolutely love living here. Actually, this is like heaven to me. Anyways, 4 hour daily, sold at 0.1 Ethereum. Looking for re-entry points. Let's see. Oh wow, man! Holy shit! You nailed the top. Oh my god, man! You nailed the top. Like you couldn't have done better. That is amazing. That is fucking amazing, man. Congratulations. That is truly incredible. Okay, so I'm guessing you're probably more long-term on this one. I do think that this one does eventually come lower. You know, if you are more long-term, you're probably looking at 0.03, somewhere between there and about 0.035 or so. If you're on a 4 hour right here, yeah, again, continuation move to the downside, at least another test somewhere around yesterday's low. I don't think that's relevant to you. It sounds like you're more long-term in this case. 4 hour does not have hidden bearish evidence here just yet. Or sorry, actually it will. It actually will, but it's not a humongously disgusting drive just yet. Where does this one start to lose? Okay, this chart is actually, this one plays phenomenally technically well. That is amazing. Oh, look at that, man. Hit right up into the blue box, rejected from it, come back down, break this region, plays in between this channel right here. Beautiful. So I'd be using the same thing in this case. A 4 hour closure, maybe even an hourly closure, but more likely a 4 hour closure below 0.051 butyrols. And yeah, I would call this one a full on breakdown with next target down to about 0.04 even. I don't think that things would necessarily stop there for forever, except for a bit of a short term, medium term bounce, and then work its way down to about 0.032 to 0.033. That's the area where I do start to think this one would, at minimum, start to put in some pretty major bounces, maybe even the next major low. But for right now, yeah, I'm not a humongous fan of this one right now. Short term, you know, if we do see the market on a bounce, again, easier to watch Bitcoin in this case. But for what is this thing, Metis, I would say that would be confirmed with the 4 hour closure above about 0.0695. I'd just be looking for a move back up towards 0.08. I would not call a continuation move with like new highs implied. I'd just be looking for probably a rejection, honestly, in this region right here. Somewhere right around there, if that were to happen, a bit of a trap, if you will. I really would not look at this one as like bullish for new all-time highs. And this is not a helpful statement here, but basically until you're above your prior all-time highs, until then, I think that you're looking at distribution on the highs right here with maybe one more move like this and then come down like that. Again, dependent upon what happens probably tomorrow. Again, easy to watch with Bitcoin, or just, you know, come down like here, maybe bounce a few more times, maybe give another try up here and then a bit more down. I think that one's going to take a long time to resolve, basically, is kind of what I'm saying. Cool. Jack Jansen has a really good question. Hey, do you have specific validations for reversals? Depends what time frame you're looking at here. So if you're on Bitcoin, and I believe we addressed this during the opening morning ceremonies, but if you're on Bitcoin, if you're talking about the macro scale here, the area that I'd be calling a macro reversal would be back above about the 618, which is also, of course, the volume profile point of control right here as well. It's actually a little bit higher on this one. In fact, that's rather concerning. Maybe we go over here to this chart. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit better, a little bit lower on the index, which I would trust the index over the Bybit chart actually, showing about 47.5. So I would technically say, or at least I'd err on the side of caution at about 48, but anywhere around there on a daily closure, yeah, I'd say macro reversal is validated. But I don't know what time frame you're talking about. I'm just guessing you're talking about the macro. Maybe you're talking about the micro, in which case, hopefully that was rather clear. But 37, it's a little bit below low 37,000, but basically you could say 37,000 bucks on a 4 hour closure. And I wouldn't necessarily call that a reversal. I'd just call that a nice upside move, you know, with a couple $1,000s to the upside, somewhere around there. Cool. NWB says wick to local lows on Bitcoin, then a rally to 39,000. A Fed meeting good. Before one more sweep to potentially 30,000 before bullish divergence and grind back up. I mean, I understand what you're saying here, and it's good to have, you know, ideas and theories about what you think price action can do. But the more and more that you start to, you know, guess around it, it's like the same issue that I kind of have with Elliott Wave. It's like when you start to think like 5 fucking moves down the road, it's just, it lowers the probability that each and every one of those is going to happen. If I'm giving my general opinion on it, yeah, I think Bitcoin's going to either come down around the current lows today, maybe make some slightly new lows, somewhere around 31 to 32. Coming into tomorrow's meeting, probably see a bounce, and then does that bring things up to 39 to 40 would be, I think, reasonable, but still lower highs on the daily. Doesn't really mean much, so can't really say anything more than that. I would not just blindly call another move down to 30,000 after that, or if I did, I mean, that would be humongously bearish. I wouldn't get too far out of too far out of like what we're looking at right now just yet. But, you know, is it possible? Of course. It's just, you know, we're going deep into the what if land. We're going deep into the crystal ball drawer right there. So I just don't want to speak out of turn here too much. Anyways, we have Simply Gains next. Says CRV BTC high term time frame. Okay, I'm guessing that means like weekly too. I'm guessing this one's probably breaking down fully as well as this one initiated its breakdown from last week. Okay, higher term time frame. All right, so thus far this one's topped out between the 1414 and the 1618. Okay, so that is, you know, that is a relevant area to be looking for on a top, I guess. I do think that this one has at least one more swipe of about 6750 or so on the ratio. At that point, should see a big bounce. I would not call a reversal just yet though. Reversals can't really be called in my opinion as long as you're trading weeklies under like 9400 satoshis. So other than basically what I'm saying is maybe one more move slightly lower, bounce around what exactly was it? Basically the 200 simple right here. Also the ones the not 0.618 at about 6750 to 6800 or so. At that point I do look for the bounce. Maybe the monthly has something to say about this. Monthly, not great, not great long term. Makes me think that that bounce just equates to another lower high. But we still got 7 days left in the trading month to go, or 6 days left. So it's Operation Save the Monthly right now. All right, Mr. Alonzo. Hey, brother, the buy indicator started to activate from June. What's the buy indicator? I think at 33,500. Could it have something to do with today's bounce? It is rare that it is the first time that it is invalidated without a solid reason. What are you talking about? The buy? I don't know what you mean by buy indicator. If you're talking about maybe you're talking about like the hash ribbons, in which case that is not true. If you're talking about the hash ribbons, it would be 37,500, which has been invalidated. The only other time that has happened, which it has happened before. So I'm guessing maybe you're not talking about this because you said that it's never happened before, but the only other time that it's happened before is, you know, March 2020. So are we in for an event like that? I mean, that would be a hell of a fucking thing, man. That'd be a hell of a thing. I mean, we can go back and analyze that day just to see, but I'm sure a lot of people around that time thought that this was the low, right? You know, you're coming back down to kind of, your major sticky area at about 6,000. Starting to put in a few indications of catching a bit of a bid right there with all these dojis, but then shattered right through. That was obviously the hash ribbon signal right there as well. So I don't know if that's what you're referencing. If it is, that would be my response to it. Like that signal is, it doesn't mean that you make excuses for it once it gets invalidated. I saw the same thing in Discord yesterday too. So I'm not like trying to make fun of you. It's just, once you see something like that invalidated, it's no longer there, man. You can't be reliant on it anymore. And if anything, it does imply that we're probably looking at maybe a catastrophic situation. You know, I mean that was the last result of that. This is the result thus far of this one below this low. So that's kind of what I would guess on that. Assuming I have the outset of your statement correct to begin with, which I don't know. Elsa's talking about Lapland. Lapland is amazing, actually. It's really, really beautiful over there. Cool. I think I'll hang around for like another 10 minutes or so, and then I'll shut it off. But I see we're at the bottom of the comments right now, so I'll just kind of respond and hang out for another, 5-10 minutes or so, see what we got. Sorry, FedCoin, get a better job. What's going on over here, man? What's going on in the chats today? Let me try to figure out what's going on over here. My super chat button isn't appearing. Maybe it's might have something to do with like location. Sometimes I see MTMD says, I know these internet blood sports have much collateral damage. I just want to There's a lot of that, man. No doubt about that. I think we have another comment right here from Mr. OP effing Taylor. He says, can I see the Bitcoin moon phase chart? Yeah. Yes, let me just pull it up. It would be, where is it? This one. Yeah, and by the way, we also had a Bula moon recently as well. A Bula moon, which you can see right here. And that was literally on the first day initiating our current dump Bula. So, the moon's starting to lose their statistical relevancy after being a little bit better than 80% hit rate for the last year. I think it's now starting to dip a little bit below 80%, and I think that kind of speaks for itself. So fair enough. Please do Hex. Are you sure you want me to do that, man? I just did it, Elsa. I just did it. you can close them. I'm gonna do a Sims episode soon enough. This is a bouncy area right here, but here's the real chart, man. You know, if you're going to look at, remember Bitcoin in 2018, that $6,000 level, I strongly believe that's going to be what this 15-cent level is here. So I think over the next year or so, you're going to see something like this, you know, or I guess I kind of already have it in there. And then the bounces, assuming that they just get weaker and weaker and weaker, you know, long term, I still think somewhere down around here is probably more likely into the single digits. You got very close there on that first move down. Anyways, my main point is that, man, this, okay, let me get rid of these. Okay. Whoa, in the middle of something, sir. Fine, I'll pin it right there. Anyways, so yeah, I kind of want to just follow up on this chart in general, because I wish I actually traded this thing, just because this thing trades the most technically, it trades so fucking technically, which, I don't know, it's just amazing. Anyways, or whoever's operating this one has a sixth sense of humor and just continues to reward my analysis on this one. Again, not trying to toot my own horn here, but just a very, very interesting chart that has followed the kind of way that we were looking for it for a long time. Got rejected right here, exactly what we were looking for. Got the second rejection right here, exactly what we were looking for. Moving back down to the base, exactly what we're looking for. Next move is probably a rally into the next week or two. But I'm just looking for another lower high below 27 cent, anywhere around there, and then come back down to base, and then probably the same thing, you know, for the next 6 months to a year. There's really no reason, in my opinion, at all whatsoever to get bullish on something like this, as long as you're below about 27 cents still. And long term, I mean, look, this is your real chart right here, right? This is your real chart. I go to sleep right there. What's up, Jack? Gold. Yeah, let's go look at gold. Gold has been very interesting recently. I am still bullish on this one, man. It just, man, gold must really test people's patience. I could never actually trade this one myself. It just would require the patience of a saint, but yeah, I'm bullish on this one, man. I'm looking for this one to come back up somewhere north of 1900. If you're on a daily, let's see what we got. Daily's continuation right here. Now, again, with tomorrow's Fed statement, you might see that, who knows what fucking happens during that, but I suspect that you probably do see a rally back up somewhere around your November highs, in this case, like 1860 to 1869 or so. Above there, I look for this one to play out the full move to like 1910 to 1920-ish region. I suspect that you're long-term, Jack, just after knowing you for a while. I'm bullish on this one on a quarterly. I'm bullish on this one on a monthly. What happens on a daily in between? I mean, technically speaking, right now it's trending. Generally good. You know, there's going to be pullbacks. I only look for corrections down to like 1810 to 1820-ish region. Weekly, quite good as well. I'm generally looking up on the higher term timeframes and just short-term corrections on the lower term timeframes. No real reason, in my opinion, to get bearish on something like this, as long as you're basically above 1760 at this point. I think that this one's really setting a long-term base. I mean, you got multiple drafts of hidden bullish evidence right there. Very, very low BBWP coming off the 21. You do have a bullish, I mean, it's a bullish setup, man. And monthly Joule's about to maybe even turn up as well, alongside volatility expansion, which would very likely equate to a macro move in this case. All right, cool. Have I done LRC? No, I imagine because no one, well, let's go check it out before I talk shit about it. Oh man, we got a shitcoin chart. We got another shitcoin chart right here. Yeah. Let's see. No LARP line saving this one, man. Very, very bearish as long as you're below 165. Short-term rallies can easily come back up to 119, 120-ish region. At some point, you probably do get a rally around there, but not the most strong chart on its own right here. Probably looking closer to a big bounce here than not, though. On any sort of like humongous washout move to the downside, like let's say Bitcoin just drops out its shit to 30,000 bucks, which I don't think is necessarily happening exactly from this region right here. I'd be looking for this one down around 35 or so. But yeah, not a great response right there on price action. Ethereum versus LRC versus Ethereum looks better. Of course, it's going to look better, man. I mean, Ethereum's a down asset as well. Like, what's the, like? I get what you're saying, man, but it's like I'm measuring my shit versus my piss, and my shit smells not as bad as my pee today. You know, it's like it doesn't even make sense, but I'm sure it does look better. But Ethereum is going down quite significantly versus the dollar, and in fact, even the Ethereum pairing right here is in a long-term downtrend, man. No, this in my opinion is very awful, very, very bad. You're probably going to see a rally from here too. Probably going to come back up to maybe even 65,000 plus butyrols, but it's a long-term downtrend, man. I have no reason to believe that this one's going to change. You just hit extremes here on weekly BBWP. Saw this. The last time you saw the same thing over here was basically your prior highs at the same area too. Yeah, not a fan of that one long term. Yeah, it is bouncing. Yeah, I do think that the bounce continues as well. I'd certainly agree with you on that. Could very easily come back up, 50,000, 60,000 plus. Let's see. Let me see. Can you recommend one to watch? Bitcoin's the one to watch, man. Generally speaking, whatever Bitcoin does, just things in this market are going to be following this one. I know that there's going to be a few one-offs here and there that will do their own thing, but I haven't really seen too many of them today. I just would say that there's a few charts that were obviously relatively strong in comparison to Bitcoin, but that still does require that Bitcoin at least holds steady and puts in some rallies. And then those ones would be the ones that benefit more. That would be your Atom, Cosmos. And then what was the other one? Maybe it was FTM. I think it was maybe FTM. Basically the phone tokens were okay. Are we having a bad chart contest? I think my voice is already too wrecked to do it. Do PYR, please. All right, we'll end on this one, man. Then I have to do my eating, and then it's time for some Simps action. Let me just double check that Jason's ready over here. Sir. Okay. I haven't gotten a message from him, so who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows? PYR, bad. Okay, this can't be the right chart, right? Maybe CoinEx. Okay, also a chart. I remember this one, like it's difficult finding the right chart for it, right? What? No data here. What the fuck? Binance. Okay, I need to get rid of this because it's not relevant. Is this the right chart? I don't actually know, because I remember people usually get mad when I look at the wrong chart on this one. I'm unsure. You're kind of more in a bouncy area right here, but look, man, like this is your real chart. It's probably going to bounce from here. I would not call that bounce a reversal on the macro scale. I think best it does see upside on like a full-on bull trap is maybe like $19, $20, and that is hopium upon hopium already. I mean, that's more than a 2x move. What's more likely is you do something like this, right? Pop up, or I guess that level that I already have in there is great, and then blip, and then maybe something like that. And then for like, maybe a couple years, or maybe not a couple years, maybe like a year or a year and a half, and then maybe get something like that if things end up okay. But look, man, it's Vulcan forged. This chart looks like a fucking volcano, man. This is what it looks like. It's not fucking good. It's not fucking good. KuCoin PY on KuCoin doesn't work. Just the other one doesn't work. Okay, so I'm on KuCoin, so this is not the right one. So it's Binance, but they have the same price. Maybe, are you sure about that? Because they do have the same price, so maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. All of them seem to have the same price. Either which way, they all kind of look quite ugly. Is that a chart or a picture of someone's mohawk? Again, you are in a bouncy region, but those are typically where your bull traps come from, which can be, quite significant. I mean, they are tradable. Ian Casey Douglas says, it's too bad that Krown doesn't keep up with the tech behind these assets. It would make him a much better trader. Not really. Look, I've been looking at shitty charts for the last 3-4 years, since 2018. I've heard that same goddamn statement a million goddamn times. And I understand that you probably come from a good place. You probably intuitively, like I once intuitively thought, that the good fundamentals are going to keep these things safe from, just generally a downside market. They're not, man. They're not. Look at anything from 2018. None of them did well. None of them fucking did well throughout the next 2 years until Bitcoin really flipped its own switch. And yeah, some of them were a little more strong. Some of them did have a good 2021, absolutely. But look, I don't care how good your fucking fundamentals are. When the market's down, everything goes down with it, pretty much. That's just been my experience with it. Again, I understand you probably come from a good place. I understand that you probably, and it's a logical reason. You think, oh, it has good fundamentals. Doesn't fucking matter, man. Look, the only way you get a chart like this ever, the only way that you ever get a fucking chart like this ever, is with a shit ton of sellers, right? When do you get a shit ton of sellers, or how do you even get a shit ton of sellers on something that can't trade versus, on leverage? Well, it has to be actual spot selling. Who has the most size in actual spot selling? Who can actually drive this price action? That would be the founders. They're selling in your fucking face, man. while telling you probably something else. And I'll just put that point blank period, man. So again, you're probably going to see a rally from here. It's probably going to be a big, significant rally. This is the chart that doesn't work. This is the chart that doesn't work. Bittrex. There we go. But this one does. You're probably going to see a big rally. This thing could easily come back up to like $16 in the next couple months or so, maybe even all the way up to like $20 or $25. But I can almost assure you it's going to look something like this at best. It's going to look something like that. It's going to be a long time before something like this ever does anything sustained to the upside ever again. Anyways, I'll leave that right there. PYR got hacked 25%. That's not good fundamentals. Oh dear Lord.
That one wants to see my nails.
You want to see your nails? All right, there's you got to get in the focus.
How?
Actually, if you put it more around my face, it'll probably be more focused. Oh, you can't really see it too well. All right, get it a little bit closer.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're not really showing up too well. They actually have like very intricate details on them. It's kind of cool. PYR was pumped hard by Shill, says Yakarani. I mean, and that's typically the people who kind of get, married to these sorts of assets because they traditionally think of it as like right here. They're like, oh shit, this thing only goes up and it goes up so fast that could happen at any time. That could happen at any time. It's like, no. That's the mark cycle right there. That's the mark cycle right there. Everything was rallying during that time, right? Including this thing. Mover easily worst start of the day. Tether try to repeat. We get the uptrend not good. Yeah, and you were 100% right about that. Crypto yellow vest. I'm talking about this chart right here. To be fair though, you are in a pullback region. But this is an uptrend. So pullback just means looking for higher low first, and then maybe continuation later. But if this thing pulls back down to like 4.25, 435 region, you're going to get a major market rally alongside that. Very, very likely. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Also, scissor hands. Yeah, exactly, man. Bitcoin has some hope with a couple spot ETFs coming up for approval, including Fidelity's on Thursday. Unfortunately, those have extremely low probability to get accepted. And you really don't want your markets to be like event driven like that, because you'll get kind of what you got in 2017 and more recently with Coinbase, and then again the futures based ETF listing, which was your highs right here, and then your highs prior to that right here, right? And then 2017 obviously the major high at $20,000. But obviously it can beget one of those major rallies, and then and those are fun, right? And yeah, fair enough. I mean, maybe that's what you mean, but longer term, you do want it to be like a more sustained thing, which, in this sort of setup right here, I think is still a bit more, cautious. We'll say cautious. Anyways, Bitcoin going to try for a higher low right here. Can it do it? Can she do it? US Tether dominance is bullish. It is bullish, but I do think that you are going to pull back from that current region. So again, does that come alongside a Bitcoin move, something like this? Back up towards 40, maybe even 44, definitely possible. But as long as we're below about 48,000 to 47,500, I do look at this as it's just another lower high on the weekly, which is unfortunate. So that's the whole name of the game though, right? It's like you get these major rallies, everyone gets excited again, but we lose sight of the bigger picture of things. So, and I'll probably get excited too, man. I'm inside your house. Well, hello, sir. I'm hoping the Fidelity might be possible since one of their reputable investment. They are reputable, yes, but the problem right now is that Gary Gensler wants to kind of wash out all of the, or it seems to me, from what I understand from the people that I know who really understand these sorts of things, have a bit of inside information. They want to wash out the crypto shitcoin 100x exchanges first, and then offer up the avenue for an ETF spot based. Until then, it seems like it has quite low probability. Anyways, what's up, Lawless Yak? Welcome to the cave, sir. I think that is going to be a good place to shut it off. Crypto Tato says monthly MACD and weekly is bearish. Bitcoin, yeah. I mean, we spoke about that on this damn chart over here. It's about to fresh cross down in the monthly. Weekly is obviously already down. Problem with the weekly though, or it's not a problem, but the weekly's, this is going to be a bounce relatively soon once that momentum lets go, which, where does it start to let go actually? 46,500. So probably not this week. Maybe next week though. Maybe next week. We'll see. But yeah, man. All right, cool. I'm gonna be signing off now. It has been an absolute pleasure on this nice little Tuesday morning over here from a very slippery Helsinki, Finland. Hope everyone has a nice and safe day. As always, there's no need to be a hero in price action like this. You can always wait for the more high probability and more clarified reversals, of which we spoke about today. Until then, I think short-term trades are certainly fine in both directions. But for right now, it's like, how much more lower does Bitcoin have to go? I don't think too much more lower. But would I just blindly buy right here? Probably not. No, I do think there's still a bit more risk. So at the end of the day, I do think a bit more patience is going to be required here, and that's, typically the name of the game. Anyways, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and see you hopefully very soon. Thank you to our moderator crew for keeping everyone safe in Safu, and thank you for everyone joining on as well, because it's been a nice and pleasurable conversation. With that said, take care, and see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate.